Hi there, and thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter. This week I'm coming to you from a treehouse in central Ontario. And I wanted to, for this newsletter, take a few minutes to answer some of our member questions. I haven't done this for quite a while, and so I appreciate those of you who've indulged me, particularly if you're a new member. And of course, we have a lot of new members who've joined over the last couple of months, and a lot of questions that have come in. And on that note, I also want to announce a new member of our team. Our community manager, Maddie, has just joined us recently, and she's going to be responsible for reaching out to our members, particularly those who are new and are wondering, have questions about what we're all about, how do we go about doing things, and really to get a feel for what this community is and how we are different from just a regular travel agent or tour operator. And so on that note, I thought I was perusing through some of the questions that have come in from our new members, and I thought I would touch on a few of the more common ones that pop up all the time. So for example, Ruth from North York asked if we have a lot of solo travelers in our groups, and what about the single supplements? Well, I could go on for a long time about this topic of single supplements, but first and foremost, we welcome solo travelers. In fact, I would say over a third of our some 6,000 members that we have at Wheel and Anchor now are solo travelers. And so the benefit of being part of a community like this is that we have created a program which we call Companions for the Road. For those travelers who are solo and want to avoid that nasty single supplement, we have a way of anonymously matching solo travelers together, so you can find a roommate, somebody you're compatible with, and be able to match up and as I say, just travel at the regular price. When it comes to single supplements, well, again, that's a topic that certainly annoys me as much or more than it annoys our members. And this is a factor of mathematics. The whole industry, whether it's hotels, cruise ships, are always based on selling by the cabin or by the room. And of course, the prices are charged per person. And so typically, two people share a room, and therefore the price of the room or the cabin or the compartment on a train is put in half, and that's why the difference between that is how a single supplement arises. And so we are working at ways at alleviating that. Some hotels in Europe do have special rates for singles, and we are working on some programs that are going to be geared specifically for solo travelers to avoid that single supplement. So stay tuned for that, and believe me, I'm a solo traveler myself, and so it is a topic which is near and dear to my heart. Kim from Sherwood Park, Alberta asked about how large our group sizes are. Again, a common question that we've got, and in fact, in response to our members, we've started to put into our newsletters, into our program itineraries, what we anticipate the group sizes to be. I'm a big fan of small groups, and for a lot of our trips, for a lot of our sojourn and experience style trips, we aim for group sizes of between 12 and 18 people, depending on a whole bunch of different factors. In cases like our chartered yacht programs, our chartered boat programs, for example, Croatia, where we go every year, our program in the Mekong River, and other ones, because we take the whole vessel, which typically will often have 20, 25, or 30 cabins, the entire group is going to be obviously a large number, which I know for some people is a bit of a shock, but unfortunately we can't take a group of 12 or 16 people on a boat that has 20 cabins on it, because simply it would just be far, far too expensive. In the cases of programs where we do have a larger group, because of that, we break the sightseeing down into smaller groups. So again, the target is from sort of 10 to 15 people per sightseeing group. So for example, if you're joining us on a Croatia trip, the overall ship has 18 to 20 cabins, which means that we'll typically have around 30 people on board on the trip overall, but we will split the group into two so that you'll be in groups of around 15, 16 people per group per guide. And we find this works really well and allows us to be able to offer the better rates that go along with chartering a ship, but at the same time still give you the intimate small group experience that you would get on some of our other trips. Anna from Newmarket asked if we're the owners of the travel agency or if we're affiliated with another company. And I think this is a good question. Obviously, this comes from the fact that you see Wheel and Anchor, and then you see at the bottom of our program itineraries and all over that our programs are sold by New Sky Travel. For all intents and purposes, we are one and the same company, although we are currently still two separate companies. New Sky Travel is a retail travel agency registered in Ontario in accordance with the Travel Industry Council, so we are TICO licensed. And I've been a partner in this company for quite a long time. And we set up Wheel and Anchor subsequent to that, which is they work side by side. And so our programs are technically sold and operated by New Sky Travel, even though Wheel and Anchor is the brand that all of our trips get marketed under. So one day we will be one and the same, but for various bureaucratic reasons, we haven't quite gotten there yet. But as far as You're the Traveler is concerned, it's all the same. And I'll take one more question for today. And Sharon from Waterloo asked about how we plan our trips. Again, a great question, and I could go and do a whole program on this, and I will at some point explain in detail of how the travel industry works and how we're a little bit different from most of the companies out there, because most travel agents in Canada will buy a package from a tour operator, either here in Canada or overseas, and they will sell the trip that is also sold by other travel agents in other parts of the world, and that's how most of the travel industry works. In our case, I actually curate and plan every single trip. I don't do all of the coordination. I have a wonderful team in our operations department who work out all of the details, but I sit down from my experience of having traveled in the meantime to about 91 countries around the world, and I look at the hotels. I speak to local guides. Many of them I've known from my 30 years in the business, and I literally curate every aspect of the trip in the vast majority of our trips. And so this means that you get hand-picked hotels, largely hand-picked restaurants, and also hand-picked guides. So I pride myself, and we pride ourselves at Wheel and Anchor on the fact that we really work out most of the details, and that is something that you don't often find in our industry in the travel business. So that's a little bit more about Wheel and Anchor. I hope I've addressed a few of your questions. There are tons more, and I promise I'll get to those in due course. If you are still anticipating your winter travel, we've got lots of exciting things coming out over the next week. So stay tuned for our webinars. You'll find all the new ones that are coming out this upcoming week in the blog below. So I hope you'll join us for those. I look forward to seeing you there, and I'll catch you at next week's newsletter.